I went from beat down and injured to running 1,000 miles injury-free. I didn't know this was possible. Last summer I felt defeated after hamstring and groin injuries halted my training. And shin splints weren't fun either. This year, I feel completely different. I've run 1,000 miles injury-free, and today I'm going to tell you guys how I've done it. So, let's get into it! After my injuries last summer, I dove into the research to see why my body broke down. I then put out a post titled How to Prevent Running Injuries and What I Did Wrong. The topics covered in that post are still the key reasons I've stayed healthy today, but I wanted to provide an update on a few key items. Previously, I've mentioned the idea of only increasing weekly running mileage by 10 to 15% from week to week. But 4 months into my current VDOT training and have taken an even more conservative approach, maintaining the same weekly mileage, 25 miles per week, for 4 straight months. Since most running injuries are overuse injuries, and since you can't get better at running when you're injured, I've enjoyed this conservative approach. I'm not planning to run in the Olympics in a couple of weeks. We'll save that for Paris 2024. I'm more worried about the long game. How good can I get in a couple of years? I'm not rushing my progression for a few added seconds here or there. But that doesn't mean that my training isn't progressing either. Each month, my training program changes and the demands increase. My interval and threshold paces last a little bit longer. My rest times, a little bit shorter. It's these slight changes each month which continue my progress while reducing my chance of injury. What has changed drastically are the surfaces that I've run on. Last year, I almost exclusively ran on concrete and asphalt, two of the hardest surfaces to run on, concrete being almost 10 times as hard as asphalt. That's not easy on the body. And this year I knew I wanted to do things differently and provide some more forgiving options. I found an article from Runner's World titled, What is the best surface to run on to avoid getting injured? And this has been key for me. Grass, dirt, and stony trails top the list of best surfaces to run on, and I knew I needed to add these to my running routine. Now most weekends I'll travel out to a local trail to log a lot of my easy miles. Ideally, I would love to do at least 80% of my runs on this stuff, but living in the city is a bit challenging. There's just a lot of concrete and a lot of asphalt. I still use asphalt for a lot of my speed work, but I avoid concrete as much as possible. I'll choose the road or bordering grass whenever possible, or my parents' treadmill or a local track to mix things up. Studies show that a majority of training sessions should be performed on these softer surfaces, and I'm doing what I can to achieve that, and so far, so good. I also mentioned previously that shoes matter little in preventing injury. There's no evidence of shoe brand, age, cost, support structure, or anything shoe related that prevents injury significantly. But there are some changes that I've made since last year. I now own 2 pairs of shoes that I alternate between each run. I have a pair of Hoka Clifton 7s and New Balance 1080 V10s that I use regularly, and I enjoy both of them. Alternating between these shoes helps prevent mechanical overload and overuse injuries. Now, I am planning on getting new running shoes soon, so stay tuned for that. Although they might not prevent injuries, they may help with performance and comfort, so I'm looking forward to those. Although there's not a lot of evidence for stretching and injury prevention, I've now added that to my routine too. I finish every run with 15 minutes of lower body static stretching. 2 sets of 30-second holds per muscle group. If improving muscle flexibility, joint range of motion, and reestablishing proper length-tension relationships doesn't prevent injury, I think it does improve quality of life, and I think it's well worth it. Lastly, I've not only been consistent with my strength training, but I've really focused on previously injured tissues. For months, I've been progressively overloading my hamstrings and groin. They're now stronger than ever. And although this doesn't completely eliminate the risk of getting injured, it does reduce it. So here are my final thoughts. Preventing all injuries is impossible. Eventually, I'll restrain a hamstring or a groin. Probably tomorrow after I post this. But I've implemented certain protocols that reduce the risk significantly. I'm on a slow progressive training program that helps prevent overuse injuries. I'm running on more forgiving surfaces like dirt and stony trails. I'm alternating running shoes, stretching regularly, and strengthening previously injured muscles. And this has allowed me to run 1,000 miles injury-free. These are my latest habits for health excellence. Thanks for stopping by, and if you're looking for more habits for health excellence, feel free to check out my weekly newsletter, where I include those along with the most important things that I've read, watched, or listened to within the past week. There's a link down in the description if you're interested in that. Thanks again, and I look forward to seeing you guys next week.